Hi there, it's Leslie Fraser here from Positive Vibes. I've got a bit of a question for you. Do you think that we are all interconnected? I'm sure we'll all have an opinion about that. My opinion and the answer to that question is absolutely yes. We all know from the scientific viewpoint that we are all made of energy, we all vibrate at a different frequency, and that's been a sort of paradigm shift that's happened in the last 50 odd years. More and more research, however, has actually shown just how connected that we actually are. There was a recent study that was completed where they take two emotionally bonded people to a place. One was going to be put in an MRI scan and have their brain scanned, and the other person just thought they were waiting for them. But what they didn't know is that the person who was waiting was then to be startled by and surprised in some sort of a way, which is fair enough. But actually what happened is that startle registered in the brain, in the prefrontal cortex of the brain of the person who was in that MRI scan. How did that happen? So that's just one experiment that shows that we are exploring just how interconnected that we actually are. Now, if you were to consider we have a collective consciousness in the world, it might explain sometimes why you feel sadness when things like 9/11 happen, or Princess Diana died, or where you were when you heard about specific events. But you can collectively feel the sorrow that followed. And David Bowie is an example recently for those of you who have felt that. It's a collective feeling that we have all over the world. And if you bring that down to a micro level, to how it feels within the family. If you have a strong emotionally bonded family and your little one is really struggling, it can't not but have an effect on the rest of the family. And it has an effect on the way you do everything in your life. So if we are all interconnected, what is it we can actually do to change how the dynamic within that paradigm feels for you? The reason that I'm making this video is just to put the question out there to say, how does it feel for you? If you think we are a collective consciousness, how do you know that? How do you know that you're part of something bigger, and that we're actually waking up to some of the things that are actually happening? For example, I don't watch the news anymore. I never watch the news. I don't read any newspapers. But I wouldn't say that I am not aware of world events and that Justin Bieber's been in the news, or Adele was #1, or what's the guy with the floppy hair in America? See what I mean? Donald Trump is causing hilarity over in America, but actually they're actually frightened that he might become a candidate, a real candidate who's got a bit of a shout for presidency. How odd would that be? So I am not unaware of what's going on round about me, but you know what I do is I make a choice about what it is that I'm fed, because that's exactly what we are being doing. We're being fed information by the media. We've been fed information by the television programmes and the adverts. People always say to me, oh no, I can never be hypnotised. And it just makes me giggle, because we are all hypnotised whether we like to think it or not. But the change in collective consciousness means that some of us are actually waking up to the fact that we no longer want to be hypnotised and that we have a say. And if I want you to take one thing out of this video, is that if we as adults are beginning to wake up to that consciousness, our children are being born into that consciousness and know nothing different. And therein lies the dichotomy between how we parent those children and how our children grow up. So if this has made you think in any sort of way, or you have any questions, please put a comment in the part below and I'll get back to you. Just a thought. See you soon.